Education is a fundamental human right. However, internal and external factors have led to weakening of states' capacity to deliver education, so that the kind of education a child gets depends on the parent's economical background.
I am number one. Dance, dance, dance number one. And then I run away.
Children living in wealthy areas have a higher chance of getting a good education than their counterparts in poor areas. Yet, under the Kenyan Constitution, every child has the right to education regardless of their economic background. Children in some of the poorest areas in Kenya, such as the urban slums and arid and semi-arid lands, are affected most. We travel to some of these counties to explore early childhood experiences in education. Nairobi reflects the severe contrast of wealth distribution that characterizes the Kenyan society. For a long time, the assumption has been that private schools serve the privileged and that poor children are those who require public school. But when we went to Light Industries in Kariobangi Ward, we discover that despite being a low-income residential area, it is buzzing with private schools for children. The first 8 years of an individual are a critical time for brain development. Early Childhood Development Education, ECDE, aims to take advantage of this stage by offering a good foundation for learning to enhance readiness and participation in primary education. And without proper education, poverty is transmitted from one generation to the next. Nyota Educational Day Care Center is one of the many low-cost private schools in Kariobangi.
The kind of the children we are deal with here in this school, their background is not good enough, because you find that the child come from home at night, maybe yesterday he didn't eat something. So when the child arrive here, by the time the teacher is in class, she or he starts sleeping. So when you ask about what is the problem, the girl is not sick, the boy is not sick, but you find that the problem is the girl or the boy is hungry.
Most parents prefer low-cost private schools to public schools because of the assumption that low-cost private schools are better.
In Kariobangi, against a population of almost 240,000 people, we only have 2 government public schools. Marora Primary and Kariobangi North Primary. They are complemented by private enterprise. So when such a facility is here, it's a plus to us, because all our students and children cannot fit in the 2 public schools.
The mushrooming of the complementary schools is one out of social enterprise, but also out of the frustration that the government schools are not adequate to accommodate all the children that are needed there. Yes, they are mushrooming, but we don't have good, standardization process for them so that we can ensure that we have controls.
During the rainy season, Nyota Educational Center is difficult to access, especially for their preschool children.
Mzazi alianguka hapa wakati mtoto alikuwa analeta mtoto asubuhi. Hapa ilikuwa na matope. I think you find when here is very thick with muds. Hapa ndio mzazi alianguka wakati alikuwa naenda kuruka hii mtaro, akapeleka mguu, akaona kama hapa kuna deep. Nao kuruka hivi akaanguka hapo with the child on the back. Unaona? So hiyo ileta problem because anatoka kama naenda anasema nini? Hapo Nyota sio mzuri because hapo kwa gate kuna matope. So kupeleka mtoto huko ni kama unaua mtoto because matope asubuhi mapema. Ni baridi na kuna matope.
If I am sending my child to the shop, The child either has to be in gumboots just to ward in the mud to the shop and to other places like going to church, you know, or going to school. They are always in gumboots. The children cannot play freely without making themselves dirty with the mud. Children feel at times that by sending them out to the shop, it's like you are punishing them. Sasa mimi ndio niende kwa matope, you know.
Half of the school, lower classes, from baby class to class 3, most of them will not come to school because of what? Of muddy.
The environment where young children live determines the direction of their brain development. When a child has limited opportunities for appropriate experiences, this can affect the child's cognitive, behavioral, and social-emotional development. Garissa experiences drought frequently, forcing pastoralist residents and their livestock to migrate to other areas in search of pasture and water.
There is a rise of the settlements that are occupied by population who are affected by the concurrent drought. You'll find that people are pushed to abject poverty. They actually settle around the peripheries of major towns or municipalities like Garissa municipality, and this gives rise to mushrooming settlements. When they come, they only settle with shanks that are not really, you cannot call a house, but it's something that's to protect them from the direct sunlight. So you'll find the population around there, what they would put as priority is about food and shelter. Quality health is not a priority. Education is never a priority because they would put the priority as food. Bolanur is a new settlement that has been in place since 2010, with so many young children of 1 to 8 years who are not going to school.
Tumeingia, tumesikizana, tumesema tumeangalia mambo ya nini faida yetu na watoto wetu usonge mbele. Tumechenga shule, tumechukua ile banga nini, tumeangalia mahali ya kuplot, tumeangalia, tumesema wacha nijenge hapa shule. Watoto tumepeleka mahali ya shule, miti, tumekaa chini ya miti.
Now the parents, after they have seen that their children are under tree and facing the difficulties, the strong winds, the hot sun, some of them took their children to the father's school, and others have even taken them to look after the goats, because they say that there's no hope here.
We travel more than 10 kilometers to the next closest school, Al Fatah Primary, which also started under a tree.
Al Fatah currently is a school that Women in Kenya did support since 2005. Students were learning under a tree for preschools, pre-1 and pre-2. We only had 2 classes with volunteer teachers who are not trained as ECD teachers, but they made sure that there was some learning in the villages.
One day the DO visited the school while the children were learning under a tree. As he was discussing with the teacher, there was a red snake that fell down from the tree. The children were more scared and they ran away from the class, the tree, which was now a classroom for that time. The DO also ran away.
The school started to be associated with snake falling on their shoulders. Even the learning on the following weeks, you'd see that all the time the children were looking up the tree if there was another snake that would fall on them. The children in those villages, they will engage in child labor, like selling of the herbal toothbrushes. They would go and be employed as house helps in the well-to-do people within the municipality or the trading centers. You'll find the young boys being the herders for the population still with the livestock. So these children are left out to access education, and this is a big challenge altogether.
When you look at children in wealthier schools who spend more hours at school in a conducive environment, you start to see how the children in Nairobi's urban slums and ASIL areas such as Garissa are left behind. They do not have the same capacity to grab the same opportunities as their wealthier counterparts.
A society is as strong as the way it treats its weaker population. I don't see the reason why we should do roads and we don't do ECD. Equally, I don't see the reason why we should do construction of new government offices. Yet our children, foundation of our future, we don't take good care of them. How do we bring them in? How do we integrate them? How do we include them in the learning process?
When we arrive in Kajiado County, we are met by the County Director of Education and Child Services, John Sipitet, who takes us to several schools in the community areas of Kajiado that have seen progress due to collaborative efforts by the community, government, and foreign institutions.
Our core mandate on the side of education is actually ECD, and that is the Early Childhood Development and Youth Polytechnics.
Partnership in education between the government and local communities has been a practice in Kenya since independence. However, owing to increased demand for and rising cost of education, the need for community participation has become more pronounced. We go to Olpirikata School, where parents are attending a school meeting.
A school like this one, they make a school development plan for maybe 3 years or 5 years. So because they have their priorities, they come with it to us. As a county, if we are able to chip in and maybe do something, one among the 5, if they have 5, we can do one, then they do the rest, or they move to other people and they help them. They come to the county directly through their area representative, the MCA. So they channel most of their problems through the MCA, who will come and fight for their needs in the assembly.
We visit another school, Ololera Taigong Primary School, which is a result of collaborative efforts between the community, the government, and foreign nationals from Korea. It has managed to come up from under a tree school to a fully fledged school. For a public system to be inclusive, it requires strong community links and participation. Enhanced participation allows communities to engage with policies and challenge structurally determined inequalities. The 3 counties we visited are all making efforts towards providing quality early education programs. The schools of Bulanur and Al-Fatah we visited in Garissa have resulted to writing proposals to civil society organizations and the county government seeking support to raise their schools from under trees to actual classrooms. Investing in young children's care and education is one of the most cost-effective commitments governments can make. Investing in quality ECDE programs can improve a child's well-being and close the education and poverty gap. Investing in education can lead to equality in our country.